In this lesson we're going to look at some more very fast dynamic phrases on the first, second and third string. Now we're going to set up a mini bar on the 5th fret covering the first and second string, and we want our thumb on the edge of the neck as usual in the pentatonics. Now we stretch our little finger to the 8th fret to begin, and I'll just play you the phrase first before we slow it down. And a little quicker. Now, it's easier to do a hammer-on and pull-off if you put your mini bar finger on a slight angle rather than right parallel to the fret. So if you can, tilt it slightly on a diagonal angle like this, and you'll find that the hammer-on and pull-off will be a lot easier to accomplish. Now, we start off with this phrase by playing the 8th fret, first string. We play that note with the pick. Then at the 5th fret, we play where the bar is, and we perform a hammer-on and pull-off. One more time, 8th, 5th, hammer-on and pull-off. Then we go with our 3rd finger to the 2nd string, 8th fret. We play that note. We lift off and play the 1st string at the 5th fret where the bar is. And then we complete the phrase by going back to the 8th fret again. So we have and that last note is the beginning of a hammer-on and pull-off, which leads us back into the phrase. It's one of these kind of never-ending phrases, really. The last note is also the beginning of the phrase. Now, here's probably an easier one for you to try, but we're going to link this with a far more complicated one in a minute. We start with the same position, 5th fret, our mini bar, and we do a downstroke with the right hand on the 8th fret, first string. So we start with a downstroke, and we pull off. One more time. My right hand is picking a downstroke. We pull off, and then we perform an upstroke movement with the right hand on the 2nd string. So we have so my right hand picking is going down, pull off, up, down, pull off, up. When I do the downstroke, my pick just stays down while the pull-off is being sounded. And of course, just to remind you from previous lessons, you can follow this with a nice bend. You can go to the connector and throw in some more of these nice dynamic phrases. Now we're going to try rather a difficult move here. We're going to combine the previous dynamic phrase with a bend on the 2nd string. Now this is how it's done. One more time. It's easier if we put our mini bar on an angle, our thumb over the edge, and we start with a 2-finger bend on the 2nd string. We want our 3rd finger on the 8th fret and our middle finger apart on the same string, on the 2nd string. We do a downstroke, push this one up. When it gets to the top, in other words, when it pitches the A note, we let go, form a mini bar, hit the 1st string. Now the picking with that should be right hand, down on the bend, up on the 1st string where the bar is. So we go down, up, then we're ready for a downstroke with our pull-off, which begins at the 8th fret. So we now get down, up, down, pull, and then up on the 2nd string. One more time. Bend, downstroke, up, 1st string, mini bar, 8th fret, downstroke, pull off, then up on the second string. Good luck with that. That's a very exciting dynamic phrase. That last phrase was quite a difficult one. I'd recommend that you practice it quite a lot, and you'll be glad you did. We're now going to take a look at some very difficult dynamic phrases on the first, second, and third string. Now, if we take the 7th fret of the 3rd string, use our 2 fingers, bend upwards, and then hit the 2nd string, we can play repeated notes on the 2nd string after the bend. Something like this. Now, this particular move forms the basis of some very complicated dynamic phrases that can extend to the 2nd and 1st string as well. Now, we'll start off on the 3rd and 2nd string. First of all, let's do a grouping of 4 notes. The first note will have the bend, and the next 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, will be on the 2nd string. The picking will be downstroke on the bend, up on the 2nd string, down, up. Very important for us to maintain alternate picking at this point. So we have a grouping of 4 which we can run together continuously. Now let's try doing that on the 2nd and 1st string. We bend on the 8th fret and bar on the 5th fret with our mini bar and play the 1st string. So we have bend, you may notice that when I successfully bend on the 2nd string, my first finger goes to the mini bar, but when I go back to the bend, my finger lifts off. Usually at high speeds, it's actually easier to lift your bar off and then place it back again. Even though it happens very quickly, it's a little easier than keeping it down. It just lifts slightly. Now, we can also set up repeated notes on the 1st string and add a pull-off followed by a bend. So we may have any number of notes repeated, and we can more or less ad-lib as we go along with the pull-off and the bend. We set up a nice dynamic, energized series of notes, and on the downstroke of any given note you can begin the pull-off on the 8th fret of the 1st string. And we can do the same thing with the 3rd and 2nd string. Or we could begin with the bend, like that. Now, one cool effect is to set up a group of 4, so the bend is on the 1, and then after several patterns, maybe 2 patterns of 4, your next 1, instead of being on the bend, is on the 2nd string by itself. So you have this effect: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now the bend occurs on the 2. So the effect that gives is one of the bend coming in at different accent points within the dynamic phrase itself. Another pattern you can try is a triplet pattern, where you start with a bend and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The picking will change each time with this. On the first triplet, we'll have a downstroke, 1, 2, 3, and then on the next triplet, it'll be an upstroke. So we've gone down, down, to an up, down, up. And again, all these translate and play out on the second and first strings as well. And the first pattern of 4. What you've just learned are some of the hardest dynamic phrases imaginable. The left hand is quite demanding technically to accomplish, and the right hand picking and getting everything to flow correctly is very difficult too. When you get these down, they can be very exciting and very fast and really add to your playing.